Hi, my name is Dawn Jackson. I just turned 63 years old, and the first time I got diagnosed with breast cancer was an unusual situation. I was noticing blood spots on the inside of my nightgown. So I said to my PCP, I think my boob is bleeding, but I'm not really, I don't really know what it's about. So she referred me to Dr. Teresa Graves' office, she's like one of the leading like breast surgeons. I actually saw a nurse practitioner who, pressed on my breast and really didn't see anything. But she said, "We want you to come back and see Dr. Tanasia." I love her. So she ended up being my doctor. So when I did go back to see her, she pressed on my breast and literally it was like shooting out. And she's like, your breasts are never supposed to bleed, so that's not a good sign. When I was in the MRI machine, they decided to do a biopsy. And let me tell you, it was like a crime scene. The blood was everywhere. It was, oh my God, it was horrifying. I was diagnosed with most common form of breast cancer, DCIS. That's usually what a lot of women get diagnosed with. I would go in and do my radiation at 6:30 in the morning at Rhode Island Hospital. Then I would go to work, and then I would work all day, and then I would come home. I had the genetic testing, so I wasn't carrying the gene or anything. So everything's good. Life goes on. In 2022, I wasn't feeling right. The first time I had breast cancer was on the right side. My left side wasn't feeling right. It wasn't like I felt a lump or anything like that. I just didn't feel right inside. So I go, I'm going from my regular MRI, and they're like, okay, your ultrasound is like in 2 months. When you come back, we'll double check it. So when I went back for my ultrasound, they actually did a biopsy at that time because they saw something. So when they told me that I was gonna need chemotherapy and radiation, I broke down and cried because I was just like, this is too much. I've already gone through it once. Now I got to go through it again, and I didn't know what the expectations were. So I got diagnosed on the first Tuesday in November of 2022. My mother had a stroke 2 days later. So I think part of her finding out about that and then some other things. So I was calling my mom to talk to her about something, and I ended up driving to her house because I'm like, she always calls me back. My mom's 84 years old now, so she was 3 years younger at the time. And we actually had to break in, and she was on the floor at like the bottom of the stairs, and she was there for 18 hours. And she just said that she wasn't ready to die. So now I'm trying to process getting ready to have to go through chemo. And I have a daughter who's grown, and she was helping me. She would help, she would visit my mom and stuff like that. And they were very close. My mom was in a facility, like trying to get better because she wanted to go home. So I couldn't visit her in the nursing home. So I'm trying to do chemotherapy. I'm trying to get my mother's house together so she wants to come home because she's crying on the phone every day. I mean, it was just, I was stressed out for real. I was so stressed out, it was crazy. And I can remember my first chemotherapy treatment. My daughter took me to chemo. The minute the first drop of chemo hit my body, I had a reaction. And my nurse's name was Steve, and I'm like, Steve, something's wrong. So they all run in the room. They're taking everything out. They're trying to make sure like nothing's going on. And my daughter's eyes were like this big. I mean, it was terrifying. So they gave me like a pre-drug, and then they tried the chemo again, and then it was fine. I mean, thank God I only had to do 4 rounds of chemo, but those 4 rounds were like hell. I mean, like my body hurt from the top of my head to the soles of my feet. I used to have locks. I grew them for 20 years. They were down to here, and then they fell out, and I was bald-headed. And then actually losing my hair was like a relief for me because I was like, that's one less thing I got to worry about. So, I mean, I got a little bit of hair now, but I am going back to a bald head. Hair doesn't bother me. I found out about the Gloria Gemma Foundation. I was at a meeting it was called The Color of Cancer. And it was this doctor from Rhode Island Hospital who was trying to get the word out in our community about, cancer and, different programs that you could go to. And Maria Gemma was there, and I didn't know anything about Gloria Gemma. And I'm so glad that I found out about it because, I was able to meet people who are in my same circumstance, who understand, and you can say what you need to say, or you don't have to say anything if you don't want to say. It's taken me a long time to be able to express myself because all I would ever say to people is, it's a lot. That was my phrase, it's a lot, because it was a lot. You know what I mean? I never got a chance to deal with my cancer because I was dealing with my mom and her stroke. So my feelings and my emotions and everything about me were put on the back burner. I mean, I just really want to reinforce for women to go and get their mammographies. And if you know somebody that, that's going through cancer and you're afraid to have a mammography done or anything, ask somebody. You can ask me, I'll go with you. You know what I mean? Because it is a very terrifying experience. You know what I mean? And no one other than somebody who's gone through breast cancer can understand it. And I know there's some people out there that have it, have gotten it 3 and 4 times. So, we just have to be vigilant, about it and get the word out, especially in my community. My community really, I think a lot of women of color die from breast cancer unnecessarily because they don't know where to go or they're not being, given the proper, information. So I hope by doing this that I reach out to those people to let them know that there are people out there and there are services out there that can help you, especially women of color. Do not be afraid. Go get your mammography. You know what I mean? Because, when it hits us, it normally hits us bad or it hits us after stage 1. You know what I mean? And, there's no reason for that. We really need to get out there. And I think part of the problem is I don't think that we get the same treatment that other people get. You know what I mean? I think some doctors poo-poo what you're saying about yourself. You know your body better than anybody else knows your body. So if you're going to a doctor or a facility and you're telling them that you think that you have a problem and they're not listening to you, you need to find another place to go to because they're not taking your feelings into consideration. And that seems to be a big deterrent why women of color don't go get their mammographies. So I am definitely want to encourage women to get their mammographies because there is help out there, there is treatment out there, there are people out there that can help you through the journey. You don't have to do it by yourself.